And I think I've spoken a lot about the people part of this already. So yeah, build human infrastructure. I think I've talked about that. I won't overflog that anymore. Engage community members as leaders. Now, what I mean by that is it's not enough to just have individual person representing a whole group and thinking you've heard the voice of that group. So while quality of leadership is important, there's also so much to be said for quantity, so that we have as many voices in the room as possible. And that's exactly like what's going on tonight. We have people from different groups trying to solve problems in the city, and we're having an open discussion on what approaches we are using. So exactly, bringing people and empowering people to lead in their own space, right? Like for me, for example, I don't know, nobody gave me the instruction or the authority or to say, okay, go start a group, or I have not earned that right, if you know what I mean. I'm not a techie myself in that very sense of my core competencies. So, but I just did. And that's what we encourage other people to do as well, that you can be the one to start a movement, you can be the one to influence other people in your environment. So we're trying to engage community members as leaders, not just not only to gain followership, but to empower each person, each one help one, right? And engage the underrepresented. So in this case, the immigrant professionals, from what I observed at that time, it has improved greatly. At that time when I attended tech events, there were very few immigrant professionals. And the ones that were there were students, but not professionals that are actually looking for work or looking to pivot or already established, just are curious. So in some other cases, engaging the underrepresented might mean bringing in the youth, bringing in high school students, exposing them early enough, to all the advances in technology, and making sure they have the social innovation cap on as well as early as possible. Yeah. And partnerships. This event is a very good example of that, building connections. I find that even in entertainment, people before used to be a lot of rivalry, but now you see them collaborating, doing skits together, and they kind of reach more people. Both audiences are satisfied, and we try to do that at this group as well. Like, we try to partner with other meetup groups and other groups to just co-present together. We've done this with NICER before. Now we are doing this, holding this event with CivicTechYYC, because there is just so much value in learning from each other's perspective. And it's not about one meetup group competing with another. It's about the collective good we can achieve. It's about how much prosperity our city, our province can achieve when we bring perspectives together. So how can you help us advance the cause? Include us in projects. So Inclucity, so you get to hear what Jeff will say about what that group is working on in terms of what projects the city is working on, what city advancement projects people are working on. And so if you wanted to know how a service impacts immigrant professionals, include us. If you want to hear about perspectives of new Canadians, about some products, include us, because that's the whole point, that so that it's not, when you're designing, you know who you're designing for, and you are sure that it's meeting their needs. Many of our members are people in career pivots, so they are always looking for projects to practice their skills as a way of gaining competence in what they're trying to pivot into. So there is a lot of interest there in terms of how people want to get involved in meaningful projects, not just I mean, it's great if you have just a capstone project after your course, but if you do have a project that actually does help the city, it's even better. We need volunteers, yes, because this is all it's all voluntary on voluntary basis, and sometimes it could be hard to keep it all together with a day job and all of that. And if you're looking for a specific talent, I probably know someone that fits what you're looking for. So please reach out and help build sustainability in the sense that I was just chatting with Jeff before the meeting started that it's getting harder and harder to sustain because everybody involved is also involved in their own day job that provides their livelihood. And that makes it harder to have a sustainable program when you can dedicate someone to it. So if there is any way, any connection, any support, any funding that can just help us have dedicated resources, and you have a way of showing us how to get there, we are so open to that. Yeah, so whatever we are dreaming for Alberta, whatever we are dreaming for Calgary, we are who we've been waiting for. We are gonna make it happen, all of us collectively. Thank you. So if you have any questions, discussion, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Yeah, thanks so much, Swami. It's great to hear your message, and having these kind of joint collaborative meetups. I totally agree. It's fantastic when we can kind of come together. So yeah, before we get into the Inclucity story, are there any specific questions for Wumi at this time? Feel free to unmute, or you can put your question in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with.
So I have a question. This is a very general question. Everyone here is a technical people who are into that, just sort of a software, or they are into the mechanical or electrical, who are everyone here. And this is my very first time here. So I don't know what's going on here. I understand what Wumi said. I understand where she's going, what her message is, but I just wanted to know what are the people and what they're exactly looking for here.
Do you want to take that, Jeff? Yeah, that's a general.
So in terms of CivicTechYYC, I'll have a few comments on that later. But we're just a group of folks that have an interest in technology and specifically using it for public good. So some folks are very technical and can be app developers or coders or back end or front end folks. Some are less technical and just are interested in projects. So CivicTech, we work on the basis of a good idea that one of our members raises, and then we get a group of volunteers together. If enough people think it's a good idea, it just actually goes out and it actually happens. So the example I'll be talking about, Inclucity Calgary, is actually an idea that came up at our hackathon in 2019 and kind of percolated for a few years, and now it's become real, and it's evolving into something that'll help the community. And there's 5 or 6 other projects that have been launched through CivicTechYYC. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so as we move forward, I'll give you my introduction as well, like what I do and why I'm asking these questions, right?
Sure. All right. Any other questions at this point?
I can add one there. I was kind of typed it really awkwardly, so maybe I should ask. Yeah, I was just wondering, like, if Wumi, with people joining the group and finding out, hey, I can help out in these ways. What are you finding some of the surprising things they're most surprised about, and how they said, oh, I can do that, or things that like maybe they thought was a barrier, but no longer is after, or is less of a barrier than they thought it was to contributing. Just wondering if there's maybe some things you've seen more often than others.
I'm not sure I understand. You mean people that want to volunteer, or people that are looking for what they can do to help themselves get to where they need to be?
Yeah, I guess maybe I'll just give an example from in my. I joined a meetup that was helping develop a website over a weekend once. And I'm a user experience architect. And I went, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to help here, really. But when I went there, they said, oh, me and a project manager ended up helping lay out the whole thing that helped it move forward a whole bunch. That wasn't, so I'm just wondering if folks feel some ways that they say, oh, I don't know how to contribute. I don't know how to take on this kind of thing. If there's a certain way that sometimes that you've seen that people are surprised, if you've seen some themes and how people have said, oh, I can jump into this, where they might have not known without your group around.
Yeah, what I find mostly is people that want to help, eventually they discover they don't have time to actually help with it. Yeah, like right now we're still trying, we haven't built a website. We had someone volunteer to build it, but somehow it's just too busy for him to get around to it. And yeah, that has been mostly our challenge. People are willing, but then sometime along the way they have other commitments. So we can definitely use some more support.
All right.